Welcome to Sapience Learning, your gateway to book summaries.
Enlightenment Now, by Steven Pinker. Imagine waking up every day to headlines screaming about disasters, crises, and the next looming threat. It's easy to feel that the world is spinning out of control. But what if I told you that, despite all the noise, the world is actually getting better, bit by bit, day by day? Steven Pinker, a cognitive scientist and storyteller, takes us on a journey through data, history, and reason to show that the values of the Enlightenment, science, humanism, and rational thinking, have been quietly improving our lives for centuries. And that's not just optimism, it's backed by evidence. Favorite quote from the author. There can be no question of which was the greatest era for culture. The answer has to be today, until it is superseded by tomorrow. Lesson 1. Enlightenment has increased wealth while reducing poverty and inequality. Just 200 years ago, more than 90% of the world's population lived in extreme poverty. Today, that number is less than 10%. Global income has not just risen in wealthy nations, even countries like Rwanda or El Salvador double their incomes roughly every 18 years. And what about the age-old criticism that only the rich get richer? Science answers that with the Kuznets curve, inequality rises at first with growth, but then falls. Wagner's law confirms it further. As nations grow wealthier, they invest more in social safety nets. In Europe, a century ago, governments spent 1.5% of their budgets on poverty relief. Today, that average is 22%. Lesson 2. Thanks to the United Nations and humanism, life is safer than ever. Wars once dominated human life. During the Second World War alone, over 60 million people lost their homes, more than even the highest refugee numbers today. Now, thanks to humanist movements and the United Nations, international cooperation, trade agreements, and human rights frameworks help prevent conflict before it starts. Every year, people around the world face fewer deaths from accidents, fewer political oppressions, and safer cities. The UN's Universal Declaration of Human Rights, established in 1945, guarantees basic freedoms to everyone on Earth. 193 nations now participate in this humanist vision, and it works. Lesson 3. Today's critical issues must be met with reason, not fear. Yes, terrorism, artificial intelligence, and climate change are real concerns. But disproportionate fear clouds our judgment. For example, in the US, you're more likely to be struck by lightning than harmed by terrorism. AI may seem frightening in movies, but history shows that humanity creates safeguards alongside innovation. And climate change? Science gives us a path: reduce emissions by 50% by 2050, and the planet remains habitable. Pinker's point is simple: reason, optimism, and evidence are our most powerful tools. Pessimism may sell headlines, but it does not save lives, grow wealth, or preserve our planet. So, what can we learn from Enlightenment now? First, look at the world through data, not drama. Second, embrace humanism. Recognize that every person matters and that global cooperation improves life for all. And third, confront challenges with reason, not panic. The problems are real, but so are the solutions. For example, poverty continues to fall, child mortality decreases, and literacy grows around the globe. These are not small victories. They are the product of centuries of reason, science, and persistent human effort. Who should read this book? The teenager scrolling through negative news feeds, wondering if the world is doomed. The politician wrestling with climate policy or inequality. Or anyone who feels overwhelmed by fear-mongering headlines. This book is a reminder that human progress is real, measurable, and ongoing. Steven Pinker teaches us something profoundly hopeful. The story of humanity is not one of endless catastrophe. It's a story of gradual improvement, of lives saved, freedoms expanded, and knowledge accumulated. Because the Enlightenment was not just a historical period, it is a mindset. A belief in reason, science, and human dignity that continues to light the path forward. So, when the world feels dark, remember this. Progress is happening, often quietly, often unnoticed. We are living in an era of unprecedented opportunity and achievement. And as Pinker reminds us, there can be no question of which was the greatest era for culture. The answer has to be today, until it is superseded by tomorrow. That was Enlightenment Now, by Steven Pinker. A call to trust reason, embrace humanism, and celebrate the quiet, steady progress that makes our world better every single day.
We hope this book summary brought you joy and moments of reflection. Happy learning from Team Sapiens.